And that's where things get really, really weird. Imagine a creature that, instead of dying, can just revert back to its childhood. Not metaphorically like Benjamin Button, but literally transforming back into its juvenile form. Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, it's not. It's a real animal, and it's called the Immortal Jellyfish, or Turritopsis dohrnii if you want to get scientific. Now, before you start picturing an army of indestructible jellyfish taking over the world, there are a few caveats. It's not true immortality in the sense that it can't be killed. A bigger fish can still eat it, or it can succumb to disease. But under the right conditions, when faced with physical damage or starvation, this jellyfish can cheat death in a way that no other animal on Earth can. So, what's the big deal? Why are scientists so fascinated by this seemingly unassuming creature? Well, for starters, it throws everything we thought we knew about the life cycle of animals out the window. We're all pretty familiar with the basic progression: birth, growth, reproduction, and death. That's the circle of life, right? The immortal jellyfish basically hits the reset button somewhere in the middle. To understand how it does this, we need to rewind a bit and look at the jellyfish life cycle in general. Most jellyfish start as tiny larvae called planula. These larvae are free-swimming and eventually settle on the seabed, where they transform into polyps. Think of a polyp like a tiny, upside-down jellyfish stuck to a rock. These polyps then bud asexually, creating more polyps, forming a colony. Eventually, these polyps release baby jellyfish, called medusae. The medusa is the bell-shaped, free-swimming form we all recognize as a jellyfish. These medusae grow, reproduce sexually, and eventually die. That's the typical jellyfish life cycle. But Turritopsis dohrnii has a secret weapon, a process called transdifferentiation. Transdifferentiation is like cellular alchemy. It's the ability of a cell to transform into a completely different type of cell. Think of it like a skin cell suddenly deciding to become a muscle cell, or a brain cell transforming into a liver cell. In most animals, this is extremely rare, or even impossible. But in the immortal jellyfish, it's a routine survival mechanism. When stressed, the Turritopsis dohrnii medusa can revert back into a polyp. It essentially dissolves its bell, retracts its tentacles, and settles on the seabed. Then, through transdifferentiation, its cells reorganize themselves into a new polyp colony. This colony is genetically identical to the original jellyfish. It's like the jellyfish has gone back in time and started its life cycle all over again. This process isn't reproduction, it's rejuvenation. The jellyfish isn't creating a new organism, it's transforming back into its younger self. It's like a butterfly turning back into a caterpillar. It defies the natural order of things. Now, you might be thinking, quote, zero. Well, that's a good question. And the answer is, it depends. In a lab setting, scientists have observed Turritopsis dohrnii undergoing this transformation multiple times. In fact, some lab specimens have been kept alive for years, essentially cycling between the medusa and polyp stages indefinitely. However, in the wild, it's much harder to track this process. Jellyfish are notoriously difficult to study in their natural environment. They're fragile, transparent, and constantly moving. So, while we know that Turritopsis dohrnii can revert to its polyp stage in the wild, we don't know how frequently it actually does. One thing we do know is that the immortal jellyfish is spreading. Originally found only in the Caribbean, it's now been found in oceans all over the world. Scientists believe that they are hitching rides in ballast water, the water that ships use for stabilization. This is a problem because the immortal jellyfish is a voracious predator. It eats plankton and other small organisms, and it could potentially disrupt marine ecosystems. So, the immortal jellyfish isn't just a scientific curiosity, it's also a potential ecological threat. And its unique ability to cheat death raises some profound questions about aging, regeneration, and the very nature of life itself. What if we could unlock the secrets of transdifferentiation and apply them to human medicine? Could we repair damaged organs, reverse the effects of aging, or even cure diseases like cancer? The possibilities are mind-boggling. But before we get too carried away with the potential applications, let's delve deeper into the science behind this incredible creature. What exactly is happening at the cellular level when a jellyfish transforms from a medusa to a polyp? And what are the limitations of this remarkable ability? Because believe it or not, there are limitations, and understanding them is key to unlocking the secrets of immortality. So, let's take a closer look at the biology of Turritopsis dohrnii and explore the fascinating world of cellular transdifferentiation. Because the deeper you look, the more questions arise, and the more amazing this little creature becomes. The process, called transdifferentiation, is a cellular U-turn of epic proportions. Imagine a butterfly turning back into a caterpillar. That's the scale of what we're talking about. In most animals, once a cell specializes, becomes a heart cell, a skin cell, a nerve cell, it's locked into that identity. It can divide and replicate, making more of the same, but it can't fundamentally change what it is. The immortal jellyfish, however, throws that rulebook out the window. When stressed, facing starvation, physical damage, or even a drastic change in temperature, specialized cells in the medusa stage can revert back to a stem cell-like state. These newly unspecialized cells then clump together, forming a blob called a cyst. From this cyst, a new polyp colony buds, genetically identical to the original jellyfish. It's like hitting the reset button on its life cycle. Now, the key player in this cellular metamorphosis is the jellyfish's genome. While all cells in an organism contain the same DNA, different genes are activated or deactivated in different cell types. Think of it like an orchestra. All the instruments are there, but only certain ones play at any given time. In the immortal jellyfish, the mechanism that controls which genes are expressed is incredibly flexible. When stressed, the jellyfish can essentially rewrite its cellular programming, switching off the genes that define its medusa identity and switching on the genes that promote polyp formation. It's a complex interplay of signaling pathways and gene regulation, a biological symphony conducted with astonishing precision. But here's the catch, the limitation we hinted at earlier. This transdifferentiation process isn't perfect. It's not a guaranteed escape from death. It's more like a desperate survival mechanism, a last-ditch effort to preserve its genetic lineage. The resulting polyp colony is vulnerable. It's susceptible to disease, predation, and environmental changes. If the polyp colony is wiped out, the jellyfish's immortality ends there. So it's not about individual immortality, but rather a form of clonal immortality, where the genetic information persists through multiple generations of identical copies. Furthermore, the transformation process itself is energy-intensive and time-consuming. It's not something the jellyfish can do repeatedly without consequences. Each transformation takes a toll, potentially weakening the jellyfish and making it more vulnerable to future stressors. And crucially, the jellyfish doesn't consciously choose to transform. It's a last-ditch effort, a desperate survival mechanism triggered by extreme duress. Think of it like hitting the reset button on life, but with a significant cost. So, if it's not a perfect get-out-of-jail-free card, why is the Turritopsis dohrnii still such a big deal? Well, the potential applications of understanding its cellular processes are mind-blowing. Imagine if we could unlock the secrets to cellular regeneration in humans. We're not talking about becoming immortal jellyfish ourselves, but about developing therapies to repair damaged tissues, combat age-related diseases, and even regenerate entire organs. Think about it. Heart disease, Alzheimer's, spinal cord injuries, all conditions that involve the irreversible damage or loss of cells. If we could understand how the immortal jellyfish manages to reprogram its cells, we might be able to develop ways to stimulate similar processes in the human body. It's a long shot, of course, but the potential rewards are enormous. And that's not all. The Turritopsis dohrnii also presents a fascinating puzzle for evolutionary biologists. How did this unique ability evolve? What selective pressures favored the development of this remarkable transformation process? Was it a gradual adaptation or a sudden mutation that proved to be advantageous? Scientists are still trying to piece together the evolutionary history of the immortal jellyfish. But one thing is clear. Its regenerative abilities are not unique in the animal kingdom. Many other animals, such as salamanders and starfish, can regenerate lost limbs or even entire body parts. But the Turritopsis dohrnii takes it to a whole new level by regenerating its entire life cycle. So what makes the Turritopsis dohrnii so special? Is it something in its genes? Is it something in its cellular mechanisms? Or is it a combination of both? To answer these questions, scientists are delving into the jellyfish's genome, studying its cellular processes, and comparing it to other closely related species. One promising area of research is the role of telomeres. Telomeres are protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes that shorten with each cell division. As telomeres shorten, our cells become more vulnerable to damage and eventually stop dividing altogether. This is thought to be a major factor in aging. However, some animals, including the Turritopsis dohrnii, have mechanisms to maintain or even lengthen their telomeres. This could be one of the keys to their remarkable regenerative abilities. Scientists are also investigating the role of stem cells in the jellyfish's transformation process. Stem cells are undifferentiated cells that have the potential to develop into any type of cell in the body. They are essential for growth, development, and repair. The Turritopsis dohrnii is thought to have a large population of stem cells that are activated during the transformation process. These stem cells are responsible for rebuilding the jellyfish's body from scratch. But here's the catch. The immortal jellyfish isn't exactly thriving. Despite its seemingly invincible nature, it faces numerous threats in the wild. Pollution, habitat destruction, and climate change are all putting pressure on jellyfish populations around the world. And because the Turritopsis dohrnii reproduces asexually through this transformation process, it doesn't have the genetic diversity to adapt quickly to changing environmental conditions. This makes it particularly vulnerable to new diseases and other threats. In fact, the immortal jellyfish is considered an invasive species in some parts of the world. It has spread to new habitats by hitchhiking on ships and other vessels. And because it can reproduce so quickly, it can outcompete native jellyfish species for resources. So, while the Turritopsis dohrnii may hold the key to unlocking the secrets of immortality, it's also a reminder of the delicate balance of nature and the importance of protecting our planet's biodiversity. But let's go back to the science. Imagine you're a researcher staring at a petri dish full of these tiny, pulsating creatures. What experiments would you run? What questions would you ask? Well, the first thing you'd probably want to do is figure out exactly how the transformation process works. What are the triggers that cause the jellyfish to revert back to its polyp stage? What genes are turned on and off during the process? And how are the cells reprogrammed to differentiate into new tissues and organs? To answer these questions, scientists are using a variety of techniques, including gene sequencing, cell culture, and microscopy. They're also studying the jellyfish's behavior and physiology to see how it responds to different environmental conditions. One particularly interesting area of research is the role of the extracellular matrix, the complex network of proteins and other molecules that surround cells. The extracellular matrix provides structural support to tissues and organs, and it also plays a role in cell signaling and differentiation. In Turritopsis dohrnii, the extracellular matrix undergoes dramatic changes during transdifferentiation. It's thought that these changes may help to remodel the jellyfish's tissues and allow cells to revert to a more primitive state. Dr. Maria Pia Milleta, a leading researcher in the field, explains, "Imagine the extracellular matrix as a scaffolding. When the jellyfish undergoes transdifferentiation, this scaffolding is essentially dismantled and rebuilt, allowing the cells to move around and reorganize themselves. This process is incredibly complex and involves a coordinated effort between different types of cells and molecules. The implications of this research are far-reaching. If scientists can understand how Turritopsis dohrnii achieves immortality, they may be able to develop new therapies for age-related diseases in humans. Imagine a future where we could regenerate damaged tissues and organs, or even reverse the aging process altogether. Of course, this is still a long way off, but the potential benefits are enormous. It's not about making humans immortal, Dr. Milleta clarifies, but about understanding the mechanisms that allow these jellyfish to repair and regenerate themselves. This knowledge could potentially be applied to treat diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, where cells are damaged or lost. But the immortal jellyfish isn't just a potential source of medical breakthroughs. It's also a fascinating example of the power of evolution. Over millions of years, Turritopsis dohrnii has evolved a unique adaptation that allows it to survive in a constantly changing environment. This adaptation is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of life on Earth. However, this remarkable ability also presents some ecological concerns. Jellyfish's immortality means that it can potentially spread rapidly and outcompete other species. In fact, Turritopsis dohrnii has already been found in oceans all over the world, and some scientists believe that it may be an invasive species. Quote, "For 4, explains marine biologist Dr. Shin Kubota. Quote, 5. Imagine swarms of these jellyfish consuming plankton and competing with other marine life for resources. It's a scenario that could have serious consequences for the health of our oceans. The story of the immortal jellyfish is a complex and multifaceted one. It's a story of scientific discovery, medical potential, and ecological concern. It's a story that reminds us of the incredible diversity and adaptability of life on Earth, and the importance of understanding and protecting our planet's ecosystems. One of the biggest challenges in studying Turritopsis dohrnii is simply keeping them alive in the lab. These jellyfish are delicate creatures that require very specific environmental conditions. Quote, 6, explains Dr. Milleta. Quote, 7. And even when scientists manage to maintain these jellyfish in the lab, observing the transformation process is not easy. It can take days, weeks, or even months for a jellyfish to complete the transformation from medusa to polyp, and the process can be easily disrupted by external factors. But with patience and dedication, researchers have been able to document this incredible phenomenon in detail, revealing the cellular and molecular mechanisms that underlie it. One of the key discoveries in recent years has been the identification of specific genes and proteins that are involved in the transformation process. These genes are thought to play a role in regulating cell differentiation, tissue remodeling, and the formation of new structures. By studying these genes, scientists hope to gain a better understanding of how Turritopsis dohrnii is able to reverse its aging process and regenerate its tissues. But the more we learn about this jellyfish, the more questions arise. For example, how does Turritopsis dohrnii decide when to transform? What are the specific signals that trigger the process? And how does the jellyfish ensure that the new polyp is an exact genetic copy of the original medusa? These are all complex questions that require further research, but the potential rewards are enormous. If we can understand the secrets of the immortal jellyfish, we may be able to develop new therapies for age-related diseases, regenerative medicine, and even cancer. And that brings us to the ethical considerations. Imagine a world where humans could regenerate damaged tissues, or even reverse the aging process. What would be the consequences for society? Would such technologies be available to everyone or only to the wealthy elite? Would they exacerbate existing inequalities or create new ones? These are difficult questions that we must confront as we continue to explore the potential of the immortal jellyfish. But they are also questions that we cannot afford to ignore. The future of medicine, and perhaps even the future of humanity, may depend on our ability to answer them. One thing is for sure: the story of Turritopsis dernier is far from over. This tiny jellyfish has already taught us so much about the nature of life, death, and regeneration. And as we continue to unravel its secrets, it is sure to surprise and amaze us even more. Its immortality is not just a biological curiosity, but a beacon of hope, a challenge to our understanding of the possible, and a call to responsible innovation. It is a reminder that even the smallest creatures can hold the greatest secrets, and that the pursuit of knowledge is a journey without end. And that immortality, while fascinating, isn't without its potential downsides for the ecosystem. The jellyfish's ability to revert to its polyp stage means that, in theory, a single jellyfish could potentially spawn an infinite number of genetically identical copies of itself. This could lead to a population explosion, with potentially devastating consequences for other marine species. Imagine vast swarms of immortal jellyfish consuming all the available food, outcompeting other species for resources, and disrupting the delicate balance of the marine ecosystem. It's a scenario that keeps marine biologists up at night. So, while the immortal jellyfish may hold the key to unlocking the secrets of aging and regeneration, it also poses a potential threat to the health and stability of our oceans. It's a reminder that even the most amazing biological discoveries can have unintended consequences, and that we must proceed with caution as we explore the wonders of the natural world. The story of the immortal jellyfish is a complex and multifaceted one. It's a story of scientific discovery, medical potential, ecological concern, and ethical considerations. It's a story that reminds us of the incredible diversity and adaptability of life on Earth, and the importance of understanding and protecting our planet's ecosystems. It is a story that compels us to look deeper, to question our assumptions, and to consider the long-term implications of our actions. It's a story that shows us that even in the smallest of creatures, there are universes of knowledge waiting to be explored, and that the quest for understanding is a journey that never truly ends. A journey that brings us closer to understanding ourselves and our place in the grand tapestry of life. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe. Comment what you want to hear next. But the immortal jellyfish's journey of self-renewal isn't just a scientific marvel. It's a profound meditation on time, change, and the very nature of existence. Imagine, if you will, a creature capable of sidestepping the linear progression of life and death, a creature that can, in essence, rewind its biological clock. What would that mean for our understanding of mortality, aging, and the potential for regeneration in other species, including ourselves? Scientists are only beginning to scratch the surface of the genetic and cellular mechanisms that underpin this remarkable ability. They are studying the genes that are activated during the transdifferentiation process, the signals that trigger the transformation, and the environmental factors that might influence the jellyfish's decision to revert to its polyp stage. One of the leading researchers in this field is Dr. Maria Pia Miglietta, a marine biologist who has dedicated her career to studying jellyfish. In an interview, she explained, "The immortal jellyfish offers us a unique window into the possibilities of cellular plasticity. By understanding how these cells can reprogram themselves, we might one day be able to unlock similar potential in human cells, leading to breakthroughs in regenerative medicine and the treatment of age-related diseases. But the implications extend far beyond the realm of medicine. The immortal jellyfish also challenges our philosophical understanding of life and death. If a creature can essentially escape death, what does that say about the value of individual life, does it diminish the importance of living each day to the fullest, knowing that our time is limited? Or does it perhaps offer a different perspective, one that emphasizes the cyclical nature of existence and the interconnectedness of all living things? Consider the ethical dilemmas that might arise if we were to unlock the secrets of immortality. Who would have access to such technology? What would be the consequences for overpopulation and resource depletion? Would it exacerbate existing inequalities in society? These are not just hypothetical questions. They are real concerns that we must grapple with as we continue to push the boundaries of scientific discovery. Moreover, the immortal jellyfish serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of our planet's ecosystems. These creatures are not immune to the threats of pollution, climate change, and habitat destruction. In fact, some studies suggest that environmental stresses may actually trigger the jellyfish's transformation process, leading to population blooms that can disrupt marine food webs. Imagine a scenario where entire ecosystems are dominated by immortal jellyfish, outcompeting other species and altering the delicate balance of nature. It's a chilling prospect, one that underscores the urgent need to address the environmental challenges facing our planet. The story of the immortal jellyfish is not just a scientific curiosity, it's a call to action. It's a reminder that we are all interconnected, that our actions have consequences, and that we have a responsibility to protect the natural world for future generations. Let us not take for granted the wonders of nature, the intricate web of life that sustains us all. Let us strive to understand the complexities of our planet's ecosystems, to appreciate the value of biodiversity, and